2020, a year of many unforeseen challenges, where all had to adjust to a new reality. And despite it all, gotkushTV was and still is here to serve you. And what a year it's been. We began the repatriation journey with our new show, Voyage to Motherland. We dropped the knowledge as you took your seats in the Kush University and joined us to hold a med with the gotkushTV inviting you to get involved in conscious, controversial conversation and enter Decipher. And when the world went into lockdown, we kept you connected with the Quarantine Convos. We kept our finger on the pulse of the community with coverage of the Relational Rebellion and the Black Pound Day all day. Not to mention more words and a slew of new music video releases for your viewing pleasure and the official launch of the gotkushTV website. We also brought you events including Women of Power and of course Blacktricity. Now, in 2021, gotkushTV is continuing to level up the thing. First up, we are pleased to inform you that gotkushTV.com is open to exclusive memberships. Sign up to any of our membership tiers and you will gain access to playbacks from all our events and an ever-growing list of exclusive original content, including interviews, documentaries, and shows such as Kush University. To become an official member of gotkushTV.com, simply hit the membership tab. Stay tuned for continued updates. Then there's the new shows. Look out for more Decipher, Wordsmith, Hold a Meds with the Art Doctor, and weekly episodes of Quarantine Convos focused on health, wellness, education, and inspiration for our community. As always, the gotkushTV film team is available for hire to cover all your events, adverts, infomercials, and all filming needs. Visit us at gotkushtv.com for hire inquiries and more information. Stand by all black businesses through our website, social media, and show content. We have monumental advertising, sponsorship, and network opportunities catering specially for you. Check out the advertising page on gotkushtv.com for more information. gotkushTV is in full flight to join us for the ride. There's 4 things you can do. Subscribe to our channel. Hit that bell to make sure you don't miss a release. Join us on all social media and hit up gotkushtv.com to subscribe to our mailing list and sign up to become a gotkushTV member for exclusive opportunities in the near future. Let us know you are feeling our content by hitting that ever so important button of approval. Comment. We want to hear your feedback on everything we are putting out. So make sure your presence is felt in the comment section. Share. Spread the word by hitting that share button and exposing your circle to the magnificence that is gotkushTV. We are looking forward to building with you throughout 2021 and servicing you with high quality black media production. gotkushTV, beyond discussion, beyond debate, we put the power in black media. Blacktricity, gotkushTV's exclusive pre-Kwanzaa showcase is now available for you to watch absolutely free. In conjunction with Ghana, the On the Return series, we have brought the African diaspora experience directly to you. To watch this monumental event absolutely free, simply register for membership at gotkushtv.com and you will receive access to Blacktricity as well as more exclusive content, including Reggie Rockstone, Yusufu Jallo, VVN, Malachi Selassie, Daddy Makes Dough, Tods, King Wiz, Tubada, Ras Ashiba, Mama Sia, Brother Leader Bandaka, Israel, Sister Moots, Carla Marie, Yemaya Sankofa, Goldflow, and a special Voyage to Motherland panel discussion, all this and more, hosted by Nat Nye and Stella B. Register now at gotkushTV.com.
The Women of Power Summit, a monumental event dedicated to profiling the work of African women around the world, past, present and future, featuring Affiong El Affiong, Ronoku Rashidi, The Goddess Needs Night, Tony Warner, Ari Ma'at and Celine Ekigwe. To watch the Women of Power Summit, simply register at gotkushTV.com for this and even more exclusive content. Gotkush TV, we put the power in Black media.
Should more African nations join the Year of Return?
I would say every descendant of Africa should go home.
But the same things are happening. The tax money is still coming back to Europe.
How do we contribute to the decolonisation of Africa?
So if Africa is our focus, are we then neglecting the Caribbean?
The year returned so successful, 1.9 billion. 1.9 billion. All of a sudden, the whole world shut down.
Making sure that people on the continent see the real picture of how we live here.
Welcome from Ghana, Accra.
Enter the cipher.
Quarantine Convos. Enjoy weekly discussions with people from around the world, assisting us in dealing with this normal, mentally, spiritually and physically. We feature nutritionists, psychologists, therapists, personal trainers, home educators, legal experts and more, bringing you all the information and inspiration you need. Check out Quarantine Convos every Thursday from 7 p.m, live on Gotkush TV.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2 1 2. I mean, you don't know, kings and queens. Yes, indeed, we are inside of the building. It's Gotkush TV, Quarantine Convos, and we are here on this Thursday, the 11th of March in the year referred to as 2020. And no doubt, Gotkush TV is here to serve you. Big up everyone locked in, locked on right about now. You don't know. Yeah, we've got a beautiful, beautiful conversation, a very unique conversation to have with you, kings and queens. So as you come through, please, we encourage you to hit the like button and also share. Yeah, share with friends, family, share, you know what I'm saying, with your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, assuming they're not watching with you. If they're not, you know what I mean, well, go on, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's a family thing, kings and queens, you know what I'm saying? By the time this conversation done, you will be met with some tools, yeah, in how to, form greater unions and bonding through various different fields, yeah? You know what I'm saying? Starting with your own kitchen, kings and queens. You don't know, kings and queens, it's all good. It's Quarantine Convos, and our theme for this season is health and wellness. And we have a beautiful, beautiful sister who's going to be expanding on that theme for us a little bit, kings and queens. I know you're wondering. You're wondering, where is Sister Mutt? Well, Sister Mutt is about to come through, you know what I'm saying? So we can get into the conversation, yeah? Very nicely. So Sister Mutt, just let me know when you are ready, and we'll make this happen, yeah? But yes, kings and queens, as said, check out gotkushtv.com. Make sure you are subscribed to our mailing list if you are not already subscribed to our mailing list. And yeah, man, you don't know. All right, come through. Sister Mutt.
Greetings.
Blessings, sis. How you doing?
I have to exhale. I haven't seen you for ages. It feels like a lifetime. since I've seen you.
Yeah, I have that. You know?
Yeah, it's been an intense. You know how it's been. You know, with the things that have been going on this week. It's been a lot of confusion.
Why? I don't know. You know, I know you who are sure. Yeah, go on, sis. Go on. I'll follow your lead. Go on.
I had to get my pen out. I'm just like, what kind of week was this? So it started off. What did it start off with? It started off this week with Coming to America 2. I saw Decipher. Yeah, I say no more, but you know, I was like, it was definitely one of those for me. Yeah, I was not impressed. So, and then we went on to International Women's Day, which I would consider International Black Women's Day, given we're international beings. And then we went on to, you know, and it was a really interesting one because we went from celebration. We went on from celebration. We went from celebration to swipe at the black woman.
Yes.
Real life family life.
Sorry, I've got a lively 2-year-old in the building, so that's so great.
Second, family life. Yeah.
Family,
so
family show, you know what I mean? So yeah, go on, sis, go on.
Is he all right? He's good.
Yeah, he's fine. He's having a good time.
All right.
Good. All right.
Yeah. So it seemed like a side swipe at women this week as well. So it was a really interesting. It was I'm a Libra, so it was very much like this week. You know, the imbalances of these things. You know, I think it was a great experience for those who were already fighting for inclusion. That got ripped from under you. Sorry. It's real. The liberation is all it is. We don't have time for anything else. So I have got I did do a piece. I'd like to share the piece. I think I sent you the piece. So I'd love to share the piece. I actually did this piece as a rebuttal.
Well, first, before you get into that, let me just say this. Yeah, I have watched Coming to America, and my thoughts on that were shared on
Decipher.
And there's more for me to say on that, but that's not going to be right now. But I haven't watched the interview. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And to be honest with you, I don't really have any interest in watching the interview. And not to say that I would never watch it. I spoke to my brothers today, and they were saying to me, you know, for the sake of keeping in tune with Wagwan, that you should watch it. There's certain things in it that, you know, we should know about. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, for reference points of view. But I was, for me, as far as I'm concerned, the British royal family is an institution of colonization, and so I don't celebrate our inclusion into such systems, right? That's where I'm at the moment. And so yeah, I get it, but I'm sorry, like I'm not gonna get wrapped up in Piers Morgan and, you know what I'm saying, and the kind of things there. I'm just, that's not my, it's just not my lane. Yeah, I'm leaving that alone. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I'm not.
It's not my
I wasn't.
Yeah, it's not my portion. It's not my portion.
Right. and Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, "Hear it all, but attend only to that which concerns you." And right now, you know, the thing that concerned me the most was more how our people were seemed to be seeing
reacting.
Right, than the situation itself, you know.
Yeah.
You marry into a family that is still living off stolen wealth. You kind of have to expect things. This is what it is. It comes with
the territory. It comes with the territory. Yeah.
You know?
I agree. I didn't watch it either. I couldn't bring myself to watch it in its fullness. You're gonna know. I think the fairy tale, for anyone who was hoping that the fairy tale was a fairy tale.
Yes.
It's good to know that if you were in a fairy tale world, and that obviously in itself is an illusion, well, that got ripped out from underneath you this week. So if you're feeling some kind of way, it's simply you woke up. Yeah. So be with your wokeness. Yeah. Be with it. Yeah. Sit with it. It's uncomfortable. Yeah. It should be. If it's not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
So that's how I feel about it.
Most def. Let's move into your poem. Let me know when you want me to bring it up.
Yeah, just pop it up, please.
All right, cool.
So I did this piece, and I'll read it off, and I did this as a rebuttal. Yeah. I can't see it. Yeah, let's let everybody see that. You guys can screenshot if you want. Women, yeah, take this. Brothers, send it to your the ladies in your life, the women in your life. Yeah. Raise their vibration. Don't let this thing is not yours. You know, miss yourself with that. Yeah. Okay. So in the interest of International Black Women's Day, yeah, I wrote a piece, and the piece for us as Black women: B, beauty on the inside. L, life giver. A, ascending force. C, co-creator with the Most High. K, kisses like velvet. W, womb of possibilities. O, omnipotent oneness. M, mother of civilization. A, affectionately loving. N, nurturer of the nation. So I better remember that.
Indeed.
Remember that. Remember that.
We give thanks. And you know what? As you said that, my sister, in terms of honoring women, I am coming from a funeral today, and it's for great grandma. And in fact, great grandma is actually great grandma.
Wow.
Have children. So yeah, and I just want to honor great grandma. Theresa, we buried you today. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, obviously all kind of restrictions are gone, but it was a good send off, you know. 95 years young, you know what I'm saying? And it was a good innings, as we say. A lot of love, and we give thanks for great grandma, you know. It's yeah, man, it's the end of an era, you know what I mean? End of an era, but you know, we're giving thanks for life. And it was very much a celebration of life, you know. So yeah. So shout out to my family, you know what I'm saying? Some of you are still at great grandma's home. And you know, let's give thanks for the spirit of great grandma, in the spirit of African womanhood, in general. You know what I'm saying? Right. So yes, Ashe. So let's get into what's it? Our conversation for today, kings and queens. Yeah.
Well, let's remove this, and then I can start with the proverb soon.
All right. I thought
start the day with the proverb.
Excuse me. Sorry, I apologize.
I know, right?
Go
Right. So let's start with today's African proverb in relation to our guest this evening. A wonderful woman. You are going to love her. Yes, as much as we loved speaking to her. And the proverb for this evening is: one spoon of soup in need has more value than a pot of soup when we have an abundance of food. Come
again, pull up, rewind. Wait,
one spoon of soup in need. One spoon of soup in need has more value than a pot of soup when we have an abundance of food.
Yes. Beautiful.
And why I chose this piece is because, you know, we get caught up in the materials, we get caught up in life, and then, you know, we forget what we actually need. Yeah. And what we have to offer and what we have as service to others. And this sister tonight, she brings a plethora of experience, a wide, vast array of talent and skill and craft and wisdom. And so those tonight can easily look at what they need from this. Yeah. So draw from the wealth and the knowledge of this sister and take what it is you need for your soul to fill your cup this evening.
Yes. Give you thanks, family. And so let us bring through a sister who is multi-talented and multifaceted, in all that she does. She is a mother, a grandmother, a businesswoman, a chef, and somebody who deals with natural healing, nature, and nutrition. As you can see, we are asking the question today: is nature part of the puzzle of a healthy mind, body, and spirit? And we're going to have a very multifaceted conversation today. So with that, I introduce you all to Sister Theresa Hatchett. Welcome and greetings to you, Sister Theresa.
Oh, thank you for having me on, and welcome to everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to tonight.
Give him thanks. Give him thanks. For those who are unaware of who you are, just give our viewers a brief explanation as to who is Theresa Hatchett and why should we right now.
Well, you are not going to be able to know who I am in entirety. I am a child of the universe. Yeah. I'm a star seed. I'm an indigo person. I come here ready, tooled up, awake and aware, and I'm living on purpose. My background, I can give you a bit of my background to ground that. Okay, I was born in Jamaica. I was born in Trenchtown, Jubilee Hospital. I was the child of the 60s. So I saw Jamaica in the paradise time when there was no television. You could go to someone's house for a glass of water, and we ran around. No school, no adults until we wanted some food, and everybody in the community looked after us. Pure safety. I call it paradise. I haven't heard anybody else having that life recently, so I treasure it. I treasure that I had it. My grandmother had a beautiful heart, and she had so many grandchildren. She had this amazing ability to care for her community. So what she used to do was on a Friday, she used to send a grandchild to a neighbor whose child was not home. And we would spend time having dinner with that grandmother so that they wouldn't miss their own grandchildren. That's the kind of heart of a family that I come from.
Right. That relates to the conversation that we're going to be having today. Yeah. You also do some work with food, my sister. Let's let people know what kind of work you do in the food arena.
Okay. So I'm the creator of Take 3 Chef, the project. And the reason that the project was created is having that legacy of family and what families do, and the transgenerational legacy that we passed on to our children, and how in this assimilated society there's a gap. We're missing that. We've stopped it virtually now. In the UK, when we came here, we had a ritual of adults teaching younger members of the family how to be self-reliant, how to cook for themselves. And you know the expression, if you can do it for yourself, then you don't have to beg anybody else to do it for you. So cooking was one of those tick boxes. You had to know how to cook. But I've spoken to many parents and many families, and that legacy has been abruptly stopped. It was engineered to stop, I believe, because mothers were taken out of the home and sent to part-time work. And 2 incomes are needed now to sustain a home, whereas one and maybe occasional volunteering used to do before. Now 2 income is needed. So I believe it was engineered to take the mothers out of the home, and that made an abrupt stop of that legacy passing on. We used to do Sunday lunch. That was another legacy. Every Black person used to look forward to Sunday lunch, sitting around the table, everybody together. How was your week? What's going on? Let's check in. Extended families would come. And that was our psychology. That was our support system. That's also been abruptly stopped because of the way that society is breaking us. And I really wanted to bring that back, bring the awareness of the value of what that was about, and why it was pivotal to help us with the psychological issues that we're having in this society as a smaller group of people living here. We're not the majority in this society, and we need to be together. We need to be strong together, and we need to hear each other, and we need to have opportunities to hear each other. And that was Sunday lunch, home cooking, kids in the kitchen with adults cooking, passing on that legacy, hearing stories. Like I just told you about my grandmother, all these stories are passed on while we were learning the craft of cooking and learning how to communicate. And if a child was getting out of line from 1 week to the next, you could nip it in the bud very quickly, because you could hear the difference. You'd pick up the attitude. You would hear the language changes. There was all these clues that were coming to us when we had that system. And now parents don't speak to their children. They very rarely even have time now to be in the same space. and it's really had a very bad impact on us. So that was one of the components why the project was created.
Now, my sister, I noticed here that you're speaking about food. I'm going to hand over to Sister Mo in a sec after this question. But I know we're talking about food, and you said very little about the actual food itself just now, right? You know, it's very much about the social communal processes, yeah, that take place around the nutrition of the body, yeah. I've noticed that. Just speak a little bit more. We have done slightly already to the significance of that. Are you focusing on more, you know, eat this to get this nutrients and eat that for you know, for you know what I'm saying, to get rid of this toxin in the body? Or is it more about, well, actually, how are we looking at ourselves and our relationships through this process?
Okay, my goal for this project is to make Caribbean food the #1 food on everybody's lips when they think about freshly cooked, healthy food that heals.
Right.
Now, we've got 3 professional chefs, 90 years experience between them. We're cooking across all the dishes, vegan, vegetarian, ITAL food. We're cooking food for people suffering from disease like diabetes, prevention. We're also bringing in alternative ways of cooking our own food that is healthy options.
Right.
So we're engineering many breakthrough ways of doing our food, but we've got a legacy of fresh herbs, fresh spices, and food that is grown and cooked fresh. I mean, I don't know if any of you, when you were growing up, had 4 trees as your legacy. I had 4 trees as my legacy. Every child had to grow a tree. So they understood the relationship from soil to plate. No child was allowed to grow up without understanding how to be a gardener. So the food is pivotal to our culture, but we're doing a holistic way of talking about it. We're not doing just one piece of the triangle or the circle, a quarter, and saying, oh, don't worry about the rest. When you were cooking at home, I'll do it this way. When we were cooking at home, our hands and our energy was going into our food. I know you know the statement, be careful who you eat from, because you don't know what energy them have.
That's true.
Exactly. Our people had a lot of wisdom. The food was a medium to communicate many things that supported our well-being, and it was holistically done. So when our mother was rolling that dumpling, when they were cleaning that fish, when our fathers were in the kitchen talking with our mum and our brothers and sisters, we were watching that. We learned our social skills. We understood our place. We understand hierarchy. We understood the difference between somebody who had knowledge and somebody who was just chatting. Because if you couldn't cook, you were just chatting. Because if you could go in the kitchen and prepare food and we could eat it and it was delicious, you actually had a skill.
Yes.
Being brought up in the Caribbean is very direct culture. We don't play with the language of foolishness. You say it as you mean it.
Yes.
And that's how you were grounded. So if a child wanted to learn how to cook, they could be taught. And then they would have the confidence, like an adult, how to cook. But they couldn't come and pretend that they were cooking with a plastic cup and a plastic spoon. Nobody would even entertain that.
Yes.
So we have a reality that we were passing on. So the food is part of it, and we have a functional medicine component when we talk about the systems of the body and what the different kinds of alkaline food will do, and fresh food and all of that. But it's a very broad project. It's not just one thing, because we're very, very broad, sophisticated people.
Yes. Give thanks, Sister.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you're saying because, you know, funny enough, I have a younger one who's 6 and wants to be a chef. So and even today, I was cleaning the fish and marinating the fish, and I said, come, like, you know, like anytime I'm in the kitchen, come, you know, and I was sort of raised with that. You know, we used to do home economics in school. And years ago, when I used to eat shepherd's pie, anyone know about shepherd's pie? My mother, I used to make the best mashed potatoes. So my mother used to give me 2-3 times the amount of food because I'm cooking tonight's dinner at school. I'm in my lunch hour, still finishing the dinner. because that's tonight's meal. Everyone, I'm cooking tonight, she's cooking tonight, all the potatoes, I've got a bag of potatoes. And I understand that kind of plow to plate conversation. I think what you said there, I mean, what's lovely, and I think Shakara mentioned it when he said, you know, we started about food, and you didn't necessarily touch on food. You touched about the culture, the relationship to food, the importance of seeing. And I've had this conversation so many times, you know, we're in the front of phones so much now that children actually, when you look at a phone, you're missing out on your peripheral vision. So you're missing out on where things go in the house, what goes where, what you're doing. And a lot of parents now spend so much time in front of these things that it creates what they call benign neglect. Yeah. So they don't, you know, no one's saying it's going to be a thing until it becomes a thing 10 years when they've done their studies and they realize, oh, you know, these children hardly have any communication. Like factually, children used to go into schools with more communication skills and more words. Nursery children now going with about 10% of the words we used to when we went into school, in primary school or in nursery. And I hear that the communication, that's where you're picking up autism. A lot of these things are coming from the culture change, the change in culture. If you ignore a child long enough, they're not going to speak, what you want them to speak. They're not going to communicate the things you want them to communicate. And they're not going to learn what you're talking about, which is the social element, the knowing where things are, the knowing, the plow to plate that you're saying. I think that's so wonderful. And I'd love you to expand on that if you can. Because that's something you don't do in terms of the tree, the planting of the tree. Like no child would grow up without knowing how to garden. And I think that is such an important skill.
It's the culture that we come from is so rich and so sophisticated. And what we have done, we've actually allowed other people to tell us that what we came with wasn't of value. And what we have to do now is catch ourselves and realize that those people who were our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents, they understood how to live life. And why we're struggling here is because we've adopted and assimilated a group of people, behavior and way of life, and they don't know how to live life. So this project is about resurrecting, in a way, inside of us again, not just an intellectual understanding, but the rootedness of what actually our culture is. Our culture is a culture of passing the baton on one generation after the other, but not just one piece of passing it on, the holistic way of passing it on. Food is a very important component. Creating really well, tasty, healthy food is an artistic expression. It's the highest form of art. But people will go to the chicken shop. And I mean, you ask anybody, would you, if you had to choose between a chicken shop and your mother's cooking, if she's a good cook, which one would you really choose? You would never choose a chicken shop because your whole being tells you that nourishment, sustenance comes from your mother's meals. But we're assimilated so much that we eat the foolishness and call it food. It is not food. Food is a medium that is a part of our culture. Now, when you put the African bit into it, how we bought things like ackee from Nigeria and all these other cultural links, there's a conversation to have every minute of the day with your child, passing on knowledge, passing on awareness about who they are, where do they belong, standards of life that we value. Cultures of stories, like you read a poem. Now that poem, it just warmed my heart because it explained something so deep, so deep, which is that when you have abundance, doesn't mean to say you're wealthy. Now we're chasing wealth over here. We want this, we want that, but we are without an understanding of real wealth. That spoon of soup is the wealth. And that's what I'm trying to bring back. I'm trying to also bring back our men as nurturers. We have a culture of men that are fantastic nurturers, but they've given us just a black and white version, just a one-dimensional man, and that no other black man is available to any woman. So they're encouraging our women to go look elsewhere because they don't give us a good understanding of how broad our culture is when it produces men. So I want to bring that in as well. So we have 4 men in the project. 1 is a filmmaker, 3 are a chef, professional chefs. And the reason that the men are chosen is because I want to really make people understand that not only can they cook, but they also are nurturers. And each of them have a family they're attached to, and their behavior transcends into their personal life. And so they're going to be an example showing other men how they can be in their family. We may not be able to compete in the banks and all these other places where there, institutional racism is, but nobody should be competing with us in our homes. That is where we should be able to be full employed, engaged in nurturing, culturally transferring information and sharing the deep culture and the richness of our culture. And nobody should be in there. TV shouldn't be in there. Video games shouldn't be in there. That is a safe haven. That is our space. And we should take charge of it and own it. And that's the aim that we're trying to do. And spill it out to other people who can understand fresh food, healthy food, cooked well, tasty, with fresh ingredients, and all of those things and what that does. But the home, even if there's not a father in the home, it doesn't matter. We have uncles, we have brothers. And if they can get involved in becoming the nurturers through the medium of food, we have conversations that we can have that can start to heal.
That's it. You know what, sis? Very quickly, I've neglected the chat, yeah. So big up all the people in the chat. Big up Buddha Bing, in the building. Big up Lady Divine, sending peace and blessings. Big up the Western Goddess, love. Good to see my sister. And yeah, man, you don't know kings and queens, and keep it coming. At some point, we're gonna allow you to come live and speak to Sister Theresa if you got your questions and them kind of things there. But sisters, now that I've got you here, because you mentioned this thing about manhood, Sister Theresa, and I'm very interested in this thing. And I heard it through the grapevine that the sisters them love a man we can cook. Is that the case?
Well, I tell you, if they don't, they should, because I tell people, listen, if you know how to prepare fresh, healthy food, it not only makes you healthy, it makes you look good. So
right.
if you can actually find a partner through looking good. So learning how to cook is an important skill, even down to the basics of finding a partner. So a man that can cook, boy, you're going to look good for the rest of your life.
All right. Is that true, Sister Moore? Is that the case? I don't know.
I'm actually a foodie. So if anyone's coming into my life, you better know how to cook. Or you better be open. Look, even if you're not a great cook, let me teach you.
Okay, all right. So I hope I'm noting that down. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
It's an attractive trait in this time. If you can show, compared to flowers, imagine if you say to a lady, "Listen, come over. I'm going to cook for you," and you can actually cook.
Yes. Okay.
That's going to beat a bunch of flowers any day.
Serious business.
But it also goes. I'll answer that because it goes to a point. Look. This is the truth about women. If men didn't know, you're going to get some secrets today, brothers. Get your pen. Yeah.
You will. There's lots more to come.
When a woman is in her menstrual cycle, she should not be cooking, my friends. Yeah. She should not. Yeah. She is in a replenishment. Yeah. And she is in losing nutrients, and she needs to rebuild herself. And a good man, any good men out there who think, okay, you know what, I want to get better, I want to improve. That is a powerful time to look after the woman in your life. And the females in your life. This is a time when people should take it. Years ago, women would take care of other women and do their hair and look after them. But we're in a different setting, and we do need to know how to take care of each other. And that is the most. If that time, pregnancy as well, in terms of pregnancy, if a man can support a woman in pregnancy, but also when a woman is in her cycle, it's such a perfect time to take care of her. Like, it's such an opportunity. And feeding her, nourishing her, and replenishing her, you'll be unforgettable.
Well, I want to give another tip now, sis.
Go for it.
Shaka, get a pen and paper if you're going to have it. If you're gonna, anybody who is planning to have a family, and I know you know this, sister, because you do deal with birth. Now, what men have not fully understood is who a woman really is, and the ecosystem that a woman creates with life given. Now, when it comes to the baby, before the baby is born, we have what we call a voice. I'm speaking through my voice now. Now, words is our creation. Can you imagine if you surrounded a woman with 9 months of the creation of your words that are positive? That's a creation point. And I won't go into the anatomy of it, but look it up. Look up what the throat and the voice box looks like. You can already start to produce that child through your voice, through speaking words and creation, because that's a creation point. The voice is a creation point. Now, when the mother is giving birth to the baby, she is covering that baby with her microbiome. That is the child's legacy for immunity building. So we'll go back to the cooking again. If you were nurturing her, her microbiome is bringing the ancestral messages from generations from the beginning of time into your child. Your child is going to come through the birth canal, and if she's well enough not to have a cesarean, I hope she doesn't, she's given that child the legacy of the immunity through the bacteria that comes through that birthing experience. Now that woman is covering that child with that. So all of the things that a woman does is an ecosystem with the child at that moment. Then the baby is given the breast milk as a top up. Now, if you look at a woman and what she can do, that is just phenomenal. That is a legacy through time, given an immunity for life, and all the messages that your ancestors had given into that birth is going to be passed on through that mother. So any man that disrespects a woman around pregnancy is making a rod for his own back, because that woman is a special place and a special important task, which is to pass on the legacy messaging in the bacteria that she gives that child. That is so important. Now, we've got people competing now with her task, with this vaccine that they're trying to do. But the woman is an ecosystem that gives the immunity for life to a child. Now, that is a serious thing that we should need to respect. So when it comes to food, we've got 9 months, and hopefully we'll do it before the 9 months. But if we forget and we've eaten badly, we've got 9 months to do two points of creation. The voice, the sound that comes out of you, the man and the woman, for that 9 months also sets that child up. Now, this is something really beautiful. This is something that we should really understand and nurture, because what they're trying to say is we should have chest milk, not breast milk. We should have vaccine instead of immunity. And
Interesting. You know what, sis? What I can say is this, yeah, because I do have a partner, and I was gonna get my pen, because you know you would have to, you know, as I said, as the song goes, Betty right, so keep love new, innit? You know what I'm saying? Keep love new, right? So you have to keep making sure that you're improving and keeping up on the thing as a man.
Big tune.
What I will say is that one thing I can say about developing and understanding yourself as a man, because I've got a 2-year-old, as you just saw a while ago, and I think that preparing men, to be able to take care of a woman through pregnancy teaches you a lot about your own manhood, and going through that process, if that makes sense. And I feel like this is an essential part of learning what it means to be a man. And oftentimes, as men, we're kind of socialized to disconnect from the birthing process, to disconnect from even the menstrual cycle, right? With men, when we don't want to hear about them something there, we don't want, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, this is something that happens every month to a woman, to your mother, to your sister, to your potential partner. Why is it something that we should, if we're detaching from that, there's something that we're detaching from in terms of the woman herself, right? And so I don't think you can properly connect with a woman if you're not able to connect with those aspects, of a woman. And so and so I totally harmonize with what you're saying in terms of reviving this nurturing aspect of our masculinity. And I'm saying it in that way, that it's reviving the nurturing aspect of our masculinity, because it is a masculine function to nurture, if that makes sense. It's a part of our masculine makeup.
Definitely.
I mean,
there's three things a woman needs. That she needs containment in times of vulnerability. Every month she'll definitely need it with the periods. She also needs a provider to know, because women live in fear. We're smaller, we're less muscular, so we're bred into a mentality of fear. So we need to know that we're protected. So protected as a provider and protected as a physical strength around us, but a containment. The same way the woman, I mean, it's very natural, all of this. This is why I say is nature one of the answers. The woman contains a child for 9 months. She does all of that. She feeds it, she protects it, and she contains it. And all you have to do is follow what she does. I mean, that's another lesson for men. Just follow what a mother does. If for that she's carrying it for 9 months. If that belly is heavy, she still managed to walk, you know? And so these are the things that we have to break it down very, very basic. The basic of get back to nature. What we're trying to do is become all separate from nature. But nature is who we are. We are a part of nature. So we get back to nature. Women needs men at certain times more than they need them at others. So it's not like you have to be the same, but you have to know when you should step in and when you should step out. And these rhythms are really important.
Yeah, and I agree with you, sister. Although I know that as a man, you can't tell that to a woman. You know, you can't tell her when no one to you have to go. You know what I'm saying? You know? It's just I'm saying. But it wasn't cool.
You can tell her, but you see, the other thing of the differences is people now, they're trying to pretend there's no differences. A man is a hunter, and a woman understands that. But a woman is a gatherer. A man doesn't understand that. She gathers. She wants to gather everything. You'll gather even your words. So you keep talking nonsense, and she's gathering it, and she'll spew it back out at you.
And we're in my auditory beings, you know. So we're taking it in.
Exactly. They're gathering it all. And at the right time, that will come right back at you, where you've gone and forgotten that you've done that because you're hunting the next thing. The woman's there with all of those gathering in her lap, waiting. Yes. So nature is really important for us to really be able to work together. And the ultimate is to bring, you know, if we can, not everybody wants children, that's fine, but you can support a family who has children if you understand what to do.
Yes, most definitely, sis. Family, we're going to let you speak to Sister Theresa soon if you would like to, so do stay tuned. We're going to be sharing the link in the chat. And Sister Theresa and the Take Free Chefs have a television show coming up, so we're going to profile that a little bit later on in the show also. So you can, go in there, you know what I'm saying, your culinary delights on this particular TV show. We'll let you know what I'm going for that.
I should tell you some of the other things I do, because we're looking to help people who are personally maybe feeling a bit disconnected after this Pamela incident. I'm making sure I use the language that these people who like us to tell lie on their live vision uses. So I'm going to tell a lie for them so that they don't have to worry. So there's some community things that I'm involved in, and we would love for other people to get involved, and I will make available to you links. But there's a community scrutiny panel, which is to do with stop and search, that I'm a part of, and that's something that we're going to be rolling out. And then I'm a part of a innovation and invention African membership group, which is working with Africans who are inventing things and helping them with their patents. I'm also a business coach and a life coach. So I work with an automated platform, helping people to automate their businesses. And then I'll be on another channel, Ben TV, doing the wellness show. And also another channel, I'm very busy this month, Beto TV, talking to people about their life stories. So that's just some of the things. So, and I'm also working with a new political party called Take the Initiative Party, which is a group of young, vibrant people who want to offer an alternative. So what I'm saying all of that is to say that even though I'm a mother, grandmother, a businesswoman, there are lots of community engagement things that I do as well. And the richness of Black people, I follow my family, and I think I've seen other people's family the same. We are doers. That's what Black people do. We just do. You know, we don't chat so much. We do a lot of doing.
Yes. I want to take it and give thanks for that. We'll hopefully we'll touch on some of those things a little bit later in the show. But connected to the work that you do in terms of food and the community aspect of it, you're very strong on this connection to nature aspect of things. Can you just explain a little bit about that, please?
Yeah. Well, as I told you, my background, I was born in Jamaica, so I had just this beautiful paradise. But coming over here, I got disconnected like most of us. The harshness of the school, the harshness of the words. And as you can see, I'm quite light skinned, but I was at a bus stop and it was memorable for the abuse. I was at a bus stop, very cold, you know what it was like. Well, you may not know, but I was standing at the bus stop in the April time when it's quite chilly, waiting for a bus. And a bus driver drove past me after the buses were coming one every hour. He drove past me and he opened his door and shouted out, "You're too dark, I couldn't see you."
Oh, wow.
And he left me there for 2 hours, because 1 hour waiting and then another hour. So that really disconnected me. All of those experiences at school, being slapped across the face by a 6'4" teacher when they were allowed to hit you. All of those things happened, and I found myself disconnected from my wisdom of the Caribbean that I'd come with. So it was later in my adult life that I started to get moments of enlightenment, moments of awakeness, as I managed to overcome some of those difficulties I had going through growing up in this culture. And the particular one I want to share is I went for a very long walk. And after 4 hours of walking through beautiful nature, I stopped and took a breath. And what they call it in the Bible, your scales dropped off your eyes. I actually, that physically happened to me. I saw the world very differently after that. Everything from that moment on was beautiful. I was in the frequency of the love of the nature and the love of the Creator. And I've carried that frequency with me ever since. And I encourage other people to do a thing which I call collateral beauty, which is where you go out in nature, take what they call a forest walk, a forest bathing. You go into natural nature, not the manicured thing they call a park, but the real nature where wildness still lives. And the EMFs from that really helps your body to harmonize back into the Schumann resonance of the heartbeat of the world, the heartbeat that we came into the world with through our mother's heartbeat. And one of the things that does for you is that it really does help you to see clearly. And I encourage people, when they go, put their phone on airplane mode to begin with, but when they find something memorable, something of beauty, they take a picture of it and they send it out to friends. That's the collateral beauty, because we are creators. We can send out rubbish, negative stories, all horrible, watch this horror film, or we can send out a moment of bright spot beauty. So the collateral beauty that I talk about is where you go out and you do something and find something beautiful that you can infect your network of friends positively. And I've been doing that for now 5-6 years. And my friends look forward to a picture. And they now do it. And they send me beautiful pictures. And we have this resonance of high functioning people who are in nature, enjoying nature, and understanding the vitamin N that comes from nature is valuable and it's important. But it's bigger than that. That's just like an introduction to the story of nature. But that's how I realized that nature is free and it's beautiful and it's something that can heal you. And it healed me from the traumas of the separation from the culture that I had as a child to the culture that I was in, which I felt was very oppressive and very taken. It was taken from me. It wasn't given.
And I'd like to ask you, I suppose, is you know, we're in a time right now where it's difficult, depending where you are on the planet. You know, you might be in this lockdown, that lockdown, whatever. And what would you say the best, I suppose, the best tools for us to, at this time, to create more ways to display collateral beauty or experience collateral beauty in the times that we're in? Are there other ways now and other means that you, given the work that you do, have expanded what you've done, but expanded it in other ways which include the times that we're in?
Yeah, definitely. And I can do it with age concerns, or I can do it just as a general. If I'm doing it age concern, I will say this, and this is a really important point I'm making. Do not, if you have not bought your child a phone, do not buy them a phone before they get to secondary school.
100%.
Do not give them an iPad. Do not give them consorts. Because what's happening is that we've got 10 toes, 10 fingers. The children are not having the brain development they should have by using tools. They're swiping. Their fingers are flat and they're swiping. And you see all animal kingdom, they do not have the dexterity of the fingers like we do. And that's what's happening to our children's brain. We're diminishing our children's development intelligence by not allowing them to use their fingers. So that's one thing I would say for the younger children. All the nonsense about watching video on a potty, you know, just don't do any of that stuff, because the capacity for brain growth is when they're young. And if you miss it, the window closes. The second stage is that if you manage to get to the point of teaching them something, there's a thing in nature called pruning. If you don't practice it, you lose it. The brain decides what it's using is the most important thing that you want it to keep. So if you want to prune away all the intelligence and the good habits, the good behavior, give your child video games or television, because then that is what they're taking up their time. The reason why we used to have hard work was because our parents understood that it was actually growing our brain. The reason why we had a variety of things to do was because our parents understood variety gives you the maximum amount of synapse. Now we have passivity. And also, when you're passive, you're actually more able to be programmed, because your frontal lobe is disengaged and you're going into the what they call the hypnotic state. So whoever is the medium that you're putting in front of your child, that's who's given the values. And whatever you're saying, everybody has experienced this. You call your child, you call your child, you call your child. They can't even hear you because they're in a hypnotic state. Now, that medium is a very, very complicated but very, very well designed thing that is there to stop your child's brain from developing. Now, if you've got teenagers, you're in serious trouble because they're going through a war. This is a war. And people don't want to talk about it like that, but it's a war. Never before in society have we had children fighting every day for 10, 12 hours a day. Fighting. They've got guns and they're fighting, and they call it entertainment. Which society would have put in war games in front of children before they've had experiences in the real world of what it is to be in an adult situation? These are adult things, but the reason why they've done it is because if your heart frequency is not towards love, it's going to be towards an attitude of hate, anger, disruption. And the tuning of your heart comes through your habits. Remember I spoke about you speaking positive and you're going into nature? These things help you to keep your heart in a loving way. But if you spend all your time fighting, your brain doesn't know it's not real. When they're teaching the pilots, they use a simulation because they know how effective it is. But this culture will forbid you from doing something, but it will allow video games to come into young people's homes. This is a very dangerous game that they're playing, and they're doing it because they want our children to not be in their heart, to not be awake, and to be in a hypnotic mindset. And then they can tune them into the frequency that they want. And you really are going to struggle to get your kids back It's going to be a big, really difficult fight. So is nature a part of the solution? It's the only solution we got left. It's the only one, because everything else has been taken. Now, the other thing for adults is there's a daylight and there's a nightlight. The circadian rhythm is daylight. The colors change every 2 hours. You're supposed to be outside. But what they've done is created an artificial world inside. So you miss all those color changes. The organs are turned on by the colors in the circadian rhythm cycle. So the organs in your body needs to be turned on. Your vagus nerves need to be turned on. Your eyes need to be turned on. And if you're in artificial light, it's a monocolor, monotone, and you don't get that changes. So your body is not really awake properly. Right. Now, the other thing, our feet are really there to attach to the ground. They're like poles that should be attached and grounded, but we've got shoes on. We never touch the grass. We never go outside. Some people wear heels that are so high above the ground that, they're so cut off. So one of the things to do is that if you haven't got a garden, try and find some natural space. Bring a towel, because it's a cold country, and take your shoes off and stand on the towel for as long as you can, 20 minutes. And if you can pop out every so often in your break, then do it, because what you're doing is all the stress in your body is going into the ground. There's a thing called positive and negative ions, but I won't get into the technical, but just understand that the stresses of the body goes into the ground if you stand on ground without rubber. Now, and at night, there's another light. This light is a repair and replenish light, the darkness. Now, if you've got a standby stereo, standby TV in your bedroom, it's not natural, it's not dark. So you have to switch it off. Physically, the plug, switch it off, pull the plug out, and get dark curtains, because the darker it is, the more your body will recognize it's time for repair. And try an hour before to not have any television on, because the green light from the television, the flickering, is actually sending messages to your brain to say it's daytime, it's daytime. And, try to turn down the light, try to get that mood, trying to create and tell your body that actually you're going to go to rest. And wear long sleeves. I know it sounds really weird, but wear long sleeves. And if you can, cover your neck, because your skin is actually antennas. When you're cold, you see the little hair sticking up. That's antennas. All over your body is antennas, and they're picking up the signal of the lights, and they're struggling to get back into rhythm. So these are some of just basically, they don't cost anything. It's just knowledge. But these are the things that you can do. And if you do it long enough, you will see a difference. And obviously movement, going for a walk, getting outside, doing fast walk, slow walk, is stretching. All of these things to connect your feeling to your body. Because some people don't feel parts of their body. They're so disconnected from it. They've forgotten, bits of their bodies. So when you walk, you don't have to run, just walk. Walk long enough, then you will feel a total awakening of all of your body. So those are some of the basic things. And as you're walking, encourage your teenagers to go with you. It's going to be a very difficult job to do, because they have a world that is so bright, so shiny, so beautiful, that reality cannot compare. That's why I said, if you haven't already got caught up in this problem, save yourself the headache and the heartache. Don't buy it.
Yes. Family, but this is a beautiful conversation. I'm sure ones are getting a lot from it. So make sure, as I said, that you like up the video as you come through, and also share it. Yeah, share it with somebody who you feel could do with some of this beautiful, inspiring, uplifting, and informational conversation that we are having at the moment. I do want to let people get on. You know what I'm saying? And so big up to UL in the chat. He's got a lot of good stuff to say, and everybody else. Big up Siggy D, you done know, King. Bless up yourself. Big up yourself. Big up to Dr. Sankofa, who joined us for the Cypher Live the other day. Big up my brother. And man, big up to Amoris, I believe that is said. Big up yourself. We're gonna let you in, family. Oh, big up Easy Herbs, you done know, King.
Hey.
And Easy Herbs is gonna be on a Quarantine Convos come soon, so do stay tuned. But yeah, family, I want to let people give people a sneak preview into this television show that Sister Theresa is going to be involved in. And whilst we're doing that, we're going to invite you onto the panel, to interact with Sister Theresa if you so wish. So the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat right about now, kings and queens. And if you'd like to come through and speak to Sister Theresa, Sister Mook, myself, do feel free to click that link, come through, ask a question, share your own perspective on some of the things that Sister Theresa has been saying, or just say big up, yeah? And if you want to show off yourself, you assume that the two sisters on the panel are single, and you want to say that, yeah, my man can cook. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how lucky you're gonna be, but as Theresa said, what can you do to stop a man from trying? You know what I mean, kings and queens? So we'll be back after these messages, and do stay tuned.
Take 3 Chefs is an online series with 3 chefs with 90 years experience between them. They're going to be showing families how to cook meals that are influenced by the Caribbean culture. They can cook healthily by using the experience and the knowledge that the chefs have.
I'm Richard of Coming Up Caribbean Caterers, and I'm 1/3 of the Take 3 Chefs team. My vision for Take 3 Chefs is to concern ourselves with food from the ground to the plate. So how it's prepared is one aspect, but the quality of the ingredients, as has been said before, how it's grown, how it's fertilized, as organic as possible.
My name is Lyndon Wissard. I've been a chef for over 30 years, working in different establishments, different hotels, restaurants, banqueting.
I'm Chef Kevin. I've been cooking for about 30 odd years. My food passion is started from many years ago, and one of the highlights was cooking on Iron Chef on Channel 4 against Michelin star chefs and winning the gold star for one of my fish dishes.
So what I'd be preparing and focusing more specifically is the healthy aspect of our food and the budgetary restraints, because we have to fuse the two. I mean, at the end of the day, we can show people how to use readily available ingredients, but work on flavors, work on seasonings, work on marinating, and to produce something that's not only palatable, but really enjoyable for the family.
The main thing I will be focus on is use of different seasonings. A lot of the time we use the same seasonings, we cook the same dishes over the course of a week. It might be the same 5 dishes, but you just change around a day. So I want to show how you can transform a dish by using herbs and spices.
For my vision of what I'm going to be teaching throughout the full project is knife skills. Yeah, showing people how to cut certain onions, tomatoes, salads, that kind of thing.
The overall vision for the show is to kind of get a cross-section of the community and people to kind of fall in love with cooking. You want people to get passionate. You want people to kind of not see it as a chore in terms of a bad chore. We want people to kind of have a passion in terms of being creative, using fresh ingredients, cooking the food, becoming an artist, making that food become the paint in terms of you have these raw ingredients which don't look like much, but then once you've cooked them and presented them, they look like something with colourful, vibrant spice. And then when people taste the food, that's whereby they enjoy what they've done themselves.
In our fundraising, we would like to raise £15,000. When we gain the £15,000, we're going to use it to create the series, the online series, and we're going to be able to use it to support all of the initial cost of creating that series.
You got Richard, myself, and Chef Kevin. We all come from different backgrounds, different skill sets in the catering industry or cooking. So we're going to share each passion of what we like doing, maybe traditional, maybe nutritional, vegan, vegetarian, and also like me, I'm more of the diabetic side of things to help people with their using foods that help them reduce their blood glucose naturally. So the Take 3 Chefs project is amazing. It's awesome to be able to have 3 chefs come together, and I've never seen this before, come together, working together to help the community and to help people around the world. And that's just so positive, so positive.
All right. right, kings and queens. That was powerful. So, Sister Theresa, yeah, I know you said that women are gatherers. So I'm assuming that you gathered the man them, yeah, to this situation. Is that the case? Oh, sorry. You're muted. You're muted. I'll mute yourself because I unmuted you and then you muted back yourself, so I can't unmute you again.
Okay. Yes, that was a deliberate choice. I chose 3 men that are amazing. Richard is an entrepreneur, and he runs the Coming Up brand. Chef Lyndon is recovered from diabetes. Sorry, go ahead.
Very quickly, Coming Up Caterers is an institution in our community. Yeah, like
there you go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's legendary business. Yeah, Coming Up Caterers.
Exactly. He's a giant in the community, and he does great work for the community.
You know, man. So I just want to say I grew up on Coming Up Caterers too. But go ahead.
So yeah, he's a fantastic example of what our people do for our community and how we manage to become entrepreneurs as well. And then Chef Kevin, he's interested in vegan and vegetarian, and he brings a spiritual aspect to that as well. And a lot of people are transferring from meat eating to vegan vegetarian, and his bio, as you saw, is just outstanding. And then Chef Lyndon, now he cured himself from diabetes. I mean, that in itself, that's a curse along many other curses in our community. So the 3 chefs are chosen specifically for who they are, what they've done, and what we can do together. And we have another member, which is our film producer. He's a songwriter as well, Kevin. So the 5 of us together are Take 3 chefs.
Beautiful work. This Indiegogo, is it still going?
Yes, if you go to take3chefs.com, you will get the link there to go into the Indigo fundraising. We've got 39 days left on this campaign, and we're hoping that people will really come and join us. But go to take3chefs.com, and then you will find the link there, or send me an email at take3chefs, take3chefs@gmail.com, or info@take3chefs.com. And you can get hold of us any of those ways. We also have a YouTube video, the same video on YouTube, take3chefs.com.
Giving thanks, Sister Theresa. Family, the link is in the chat. Yeah, if you want to come through and ask, you know what I'm saying, a question, make a comment, just vibes with Sister Theresa, feel free to do so. And if you have a question but you don't want to come live, you can also feel free to ask it in the chat. Yes, you know what I mean, Zamamnish, we got Zamamnish, part of the gotkushTV team. You don't know, kings and queens. Yeah, man, we got the sister, fantastic sister in our community, and a brilliant photographer. Trust me. I was saying the other day that Zamamnish, when she takes photos of you, she makes you look like you want to look. You know what I'm saying? So we give for the artists that are there. I do want to say this year, some of the most creative people that I've seen in the kitchen are people that actually do vegetarian and vegan, yeah. And I know like this misconception that if you don't eat meat, your diet is limited. Is real stupid. Most of the people that I know that are vegan and vegetarian have a wider variety of diet than people that I know that, right? And when you spoke earlier about chefs being artists, and one of the most profound experiences that I've had with that is being in Jamaica, in Portland, yeah, for 2 weeks when I was being initiated into being a yoga instructor, so I became a yoga instructor. And so as a part of that process, we had raw food chefs, yeah, who were a part of the process. And so every day for 2 weeks we ate raw and drank nothing but tea, coconut water, and spring water. You know what I'm saying, and a couple of other natural beverages, but the staple ones are coconut water, spring water, and certain herbal teas, right? And the way big up to Mama Bingy, yeah, because the way how she dealt with the cooking, yeah, like it was like, this is not like, it's raw food in it, so you would feel like, yeah, you just cut up 2 things and put it together up on a plate. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I get to the people that know. This woman is an artist, yeah, a proper artist. Like, it has to cut a certain way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And certain things have to put together. you know, and there's a certain preparation and presentation, yeah, that comes with these things. And we ate 3 meals a day like that for 2 weeks straight. And the love, yeah, that went into that process. And all through it, because you know we're doing all this physical work as well, all this spiritual work, and you're being transformed, yeah, on a holistic level throughout the process. You know what I'm saying, and the food was very central to that, you know, because we ate as a every day for three days a week, so 3 times a day, sorry, and so a lot of what you're saying I connect to, because obviously we was in Portland. And have you ever been to Portland, Theresa?
Not as an adult, but as a child, yeah. So I have no memory of it. Sorry.
So for Portland, for those who don't know, yeah. Sorry to get all yardy upon you, yeah. But the Portland, yeah, I was saying, right. By the way, in fact, on this subject, I do want to get very yardy on you, because Theresa mentioned that we brought the ackee, yeah, from West Africa, come on the Caribbean, and I till now it come that only me can eat the ackee. I don't know what happened to the rest. I don't know. It come that only we eat the ackee. Why go on for the rest? I don't know. Why don't eat the ackee? Anyway, but yeah. So in Portland, right? Portland is one of the most hilly and natural, yeah, abundant places in Jamaica. For those who don't know, that's where Queen Nanny, or Granny Nanny of the Maroons, yeah, operated in Portland. And so the Mortar Maroons are in Portland. And Portland is the area that also gets the most rain in Jamaica, yeah, but it's the most picturesque in terms of the scenery, the natural scenery. And, you know, there's a lot of hills, because obviously the Maroons were living in hills. And a lot of their war planning and their lookouts were done in these hills, right? And there's a powerful energy in the hills, yeah? So when we speak about all of these things that you're talking about, so because I was in nature and also eating in that kind of way, in that communal, you know, vibration, all of what you're saying reminds me of that experience. Do you know what I'm saying?
Good.
Even though for certain time, you know, like more time when we went outside, we walked barefoot. Cause they call it ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, we walk barefoot. For those who know Muta Maruka, you will know about them thing there. Man, no wear shoes. That's it. I'm just sharing a personal reflection that relates to everything that you're speaking about there. And Portland is like paradise, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful place.
It's beautiful that you're sharing that, because this is what we don't understand properly. See, when you're touching the ground, the messages that's coming through your fingers and your feet is actually talking to your body, and we deprive ourselves. I mean, some cultures still eat with their hands, and you wonder why we've taken up these utilities and not eat with our fingers and our hands anymore. You know, these are really important things, because the messages that your body is receiving, if you think about, you take food with your hands, it's already sending a message to say this is safe, this is nurturing, this is healthy. Then it goes into your mouth. So the digestion process is supported, but the calming down and the ritual around eating is all natural that way. But we get knife and fork and we cut it, and you know, we have a metal in our hand, and the same as our shoes, there's a separation from that energy. And raw food it's got all of vitality, it's got all the light and the sunshine and all of the life in it. And that messenger comes into us and then triggers our messaging systems inside of us. So this is really important that we know what food is. A lot of people don't actually know what food is. They think food is something different from what it really is. Food is a messenger. And one of the things I will share, I don't know if a lot of people know this, is that if you don't eat fresh, natural food, you actually lose willpower, because the food builds your willpower. And if you have people that only eat cooked food, never raw food, those messages do not come to you, and you find that you're less strong in your willpower and less strong in who you are and in your humanity than you would be. So even if it's a salad or fresh fruit and vegetables, you've got to eat fresh food, because those messages in the enzymes talk to your body. It's a key and a lock system, and we've come through the whole millenniums with food. And if we cut ourselves off, we cut ourselves off from the messages that those food gives us.
Sorry, I think when you say that, you're talking about high vibrational food, and raising our frequency through our diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a question here that's actually aimed at both of you. It says, what do the sisters think about using herbs and things like a yoni steamer, home birth, so where you're in the right place for that one, and having a mother advisor, not sure of the proper term, as opposed to midwives, yeah? And so I'll let you lead on that one. But in response, Sister Emily Gordon has said that doulas, which is the proper terminology, are amazing.
Big up Emily. Big up Emily. I was her doula. Big up Emily.
Yeah. Let's answer the question. So Dr. Sakov says, think about using and things like.
Yeah, I let's just take a look at the question. I'm gonna look on here, actually, it'll be easier. And but I would say, I mean, the gentleman who's speaking, Dr. Sankofa, the term is a doula, or a woman who is set to mother the mother. Yoni steaming is really, really good. It is, I'm learning more and more about it in terms of the work that I do. In fact, somebody asked me about providing that service and wants to train me in it. But there's so much to do, so many areas. But yeah, yoni steaming is very, very good. The herbs that we use, that they used inside of it, like, what I've learned about, you can use like kitchen herbs, basil, oregano. These things are in our kitchen, and we have to keep forgetting that our pharmacy is in our kitchen. Yeah, we keep looking outside of ourselves. I know we're in a particular time at the moment, and obviously we're looking outside of ourselves. Some people are looking outside of themselves for the cure or the remedies, but a lot of it is in your home. And I think we have to get back to the point where we recognize that what you have in your home is your pharmacy, and they're just little things that you need to do, like it might be the lemon and the alkalining of the body, little things, drinking lemon water daily, all these subtle things that keep us in check and keep our, people don't know much about peristalsis, but lemon water creates peristalsis. Now, bowel health, bowel issues, bowel cancer is one of the top cancers right now. Yeah. And peristalsis is where you have lemon water allows your intestines to pulsate and let everything go along the digestional tract the way it should do. And so you're encouraging it with just things like lemon water. So, when you, Theresa, talk about nature, and you've got that wonderful question around, is nature part of the puzzle of a healthy mind, body, and spirit? I really hear you inside of that. And inside of the question, absolutely, a doula is the term. And yoni steaming, to me, is definitely the way forward for men's health. It's actually something men can do as well. A lot of it is geared towards women, but actually men can use the exact same herbs and steam their male parts in the same way.
I can add to that if you have time.
Sure.
Yeah.
So man, for steam up them situation too.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we have to understand, is nature a part of the puzzle? Is that a child is coming from a protective environment, an environment that is so clean, and when they come out, they're coming into an environment that is full of bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Now, at home, with the bacteria of the family that the child is going to come into, is the safest place for a child. Because if you were in another environment, the things that they're picking up could set them up to have problems later on, especially if a child is coming through a cesarean. I know we have to get the medical help, but if we can bring things like a blanket from the home to cover the child, these things are really important, because animals know this so well. We're the foolish ones. An animal will not let you come near their babies. If you touch an animal's baby, they may abandon that baby. And there are reasons why. is because that even though they haven't done the studies, they understand the bacterial world and what the microbiome is about. We are the only ones that are forgotten. So if you're having a hospital birth, bring things from home, wrap your baby in it.
Absolutely,
A
absolutely.
man's bacteria in the home around the baby is really important if that baby's going to live in that home. So don't be saying, oh, I'll come back after 2 days after you've had the baby. Only women should be there, because those first bacteria and germs that the baby receives is what sets them up for life. So whoever is going to be the protective system for the baby should be there. And a doula is really important because you would have had conversation with the mom, the baby would have heard your voice and your tone, and the mother would have given the baby the signal that you're a safe person. Whereas a midwife is, I mean, I'll give you this for nothing. It annoys me so much, but I'll give it to you. And please don't let them do this. When you have these midwives come to women in their homes and they check in how the baby's doing, I have heard that some of them would like to put their fingers and check the baby. Put their fingers in the private parts and check the baby. Given what I've said to you about the germ and the safety, and this person is going to everybody's house doing this should not be something that happens. So having a doula and having somebody explains to you the importance of protecting that baby is such an important information. But if that happens, do not let them put their fingers in the private space between you and the baby, because the baby hasn't even come out yet. And the first germs that the baby's going to feel is theirs.
I will challenge that only slightly, only because
I know. Go ahead.
Not only because in a home birth setting, realistically, what will happen in a home birth setting, the midwife will come to a birth and she will check how far dilated you are.
I know.
She will come in, which she will wear gloves, yes, and she will check how dilated you are. If you're 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, a woman often wants to know, especially if inside her psychology, feel like she's been doing it for days. So it helps her, but also it's an indication. Remember, we have to understand about the difference between midwives and doulas as well, is that midwives obviously go off different shifts. So they will finish their shift. They also need an indication as to where they're at. So I would say, if anything, have one. Yeah, the best thing to do is ideally is at least have one initial one if you're going to have a home birth. Yeah, anything else can start, they call it the sphincter law, where everything closes down. Yeah, so with the strangers present. So I think things like people like doulas shorten labor. There's so many advantages of having the work that we do, less cesarean rate, less pain relief, all of these wonderful things, less chance of postnatal depression and antenatal depression, which we know Meghan Markle had. So you understand what I'm saying? So we have to.
I agree with you, and I think what I'm saying is you need to understand what that process is about and exert your authority and don't be passive. That's really what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
It is not an open house for whoever is on duty to just turn up and you're just passive. Be proactive, understand what that whole thing is about, and understand the microbiome and how important that is. It's such an important ecosystem that we have to protect it.
Well, sister,
but
our question addresses just that. It says, what's your understanding of diet and the gut microbiome? Also, it's linked to the mood and one's ability to think clearly.
To think, did you say?
Think clearly, yes.
Yeah, definitely. The plants, different plants grow at different times. Some plants are called deadly nightshade. They grow at night. Some plants grow in the daylight sunlight. The plants are in nature. They understand it's a frequency. It's to do with the light I was speaking about. Some plants have certain lights that grow them and others don't. So the microbiome really is about the nitrates and all of these kinds of things that comes from the plant, but it goes through the 3 stomachs. So the really important thing is to understand that the plant is an intelligence that our body has grown up with. And that plant, we don't survive without the plant. We die. So they are in symbiosis with us. So if we eat the wrong kind of food, we die, we get ill. And if we used to have like 140 different types of plant life that we would eat that would give us a very big flora in our microbiome. We're down to very small numbers now. You go to the local shop, it's a repetitive thing that they sell. They don't have the broad spectrum of herbs and things that we would normally have. So we're reducing and impacting our health. Then we've got the GMO stuff, which is tinkering with the actual seed health. So all of these things affect our microbiome. You may eat an apple. I mean, I left an apple as an experiment in my fridge for 3 months. The apple looked exactly the same as the day I bought it. That's not nature. That's not natural. So fresh food, broad variety of food, broad variety of herbs is what's going to help the microbiome to be healthy. Now, we were talking about tea earlier on. I have thyme tea. I have rosemary tea. I have nutmeg tea. I have cinnamon tea. All of these things you can have as tea because I'm getting the nanonutrients from those things through the water, the hot water, and the seeping of the water to make it into a tea. So we have to understand that the pharmacy, as the sister said, the pharmacy is the natural herbs and spices. That is our pharmacy. And without that, we have a very, very ill stomach, which is open to all kinds of bacteria and things that are not good for us. I mean, I don't know if any of you had castor oil as a child, was as a washout. We used to be given castor oil.
Years ago, women were told to use that as a way of getting their labor started. You know,
exactly.
castor oil, orange juice. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's the messaging, it's the messenger inside of those things that our body recognizes. So why we're not getting those messages is because we're not taking those herbs and spices anymore. So we're not getting the messages. They're messengers. We call them herbs and spices, but what we should call them is messengers. They give the body messages, and each cell and each system in the body needs a different message. So when we were first, conceived, everything started to give its own speciality as it went through the 9 months. So the heart, the lungs, the kidney, they all need different messages. That's why we had such a flora of herbs and spices that we mixed with our food, and we would eat that. That would send messages to us. And now we've got Maxine wanting to do messaging. And the important thing we've got to understand is our food are messengers. We call it nourishment, we call it nutrition, but it's actually messengers. That's what they are.
That makes sense.
And they're historical and ancestral messengers that have survived with us through the millennia that we've been here. They are messengers that keep our cells and our system in check. And without them, we end up in trouble.
I'm reminded of this concept in what they call Bantu philosophy or cosmology, and there's 4 major categories in terms of reality, and you've got the Muntu, the Kintu, the Hantu, and the Kuntu. And the Muntu is human beings, Kintu is things, Hantu is space-time, time and place in reality, and Kuntu is like modality, so it's non-physical conceptual realities like beauty and aesthetics and them kind of things there. But the interesting thing about Muntu being human beings is that plants and trees are also included in that category.
Exactly.
They're part of what this human makeup that we have there. So even in the cosmology of the people, they see trees as a part of their family and their ancestry. You see what I'm saying?
They are. They're 4 stages, and the tree is one of the stages. I mean, if you think about the way our lungs are, it's like a tree. People don't want to talk about the deeper stuff, and this is not the platform to really get into it. But we are made of nature, and nature made us. And if we went back far enough, we would get a shock of who we are. Our vibration at this level is produced this skin and flesh. But there are other parts of us, there are other things about us which are much, much more important than this flesh. This flesh is here for a time and it's gone, but there's other bits of us that are never gone. And the trees are a part of that. It's like a stabilizer. The ground, the stone, the crystal, the trees, they're all stabilized and they hold the frequency in this place. And we have to ingest some of that to be able to hold on to the frequency ourselves. Otherwise, we'll leave. Otherwise, we move on. We'll lose the body and we'll move on.
We do have another
If a tree gets a bad season and a bacteria gets into a tree, it will start to rot and die because that has penetrated the protection of the tree. So the balance that we need is the balance that nature, fresh air, fresh sunshine gives us. And when we're out of balance, we open up to all kinds of things that we shouldn't be open up to.
Yes. Yeah. We've got another question here from Dr. Sankofa. It says, also, how would the sisters suggest to approach a situation whereby family harmony or structure isn't there? Would one start the family fresh or keep the good and distance the bad, etc.? Interesting question.
Oh, I love this question. I get this question a lot. So, okay, the responsibility of harmony is solely on the brother's shoulders. You are responsible for the frequency that you emanate. How you help others is to be who it is that you want to see. And in any space, you become the salt and pepper of that situation. Because if you are not vibrating at the loving, heartfelt way, you will add to the problem. So your responsibility is to become what it is that you would like to see. And by that, you will then influence everybody else. Otherwise, you are just being what they call a speaker, but not a doer. If you are so well in your heart, you walk into any, I don't know if you've experienced this, I've experienced it many times. You walk into a situation and you're like a moth to a light. People are just drawn to your vibration, to your frequency, because there's something about you. And that's what we talked about the layers. People pick up your aura. They pick up your energy. So work on your energy. Don't worry about anybody else's energy. Work on yours. And you walk through their lives as a healing balm. That's what the responsibility is. Open that heart. Live from your heart. Speak beauty. Speak positive. And look after your body so that your body will also be an antenna receiving higher and higher frequencies as you work through your journey of this living life. That's how you help families. And don't put any time on it. Don't put time on it.
I suppose
Sorry,
I would
sister.
add to that. I think I would add to that as well in terms of answering the question. It asks, how would the sister suggest approach a situation where a family harmony or structure isn't there? And would one start the family fresh or keep the good and distance the bad? I think you have to know I think there is importance. There's a saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I think we have to understand the importance of what we got. Yeah. Our parents, none of our ancestors were perfect. Yeah. None of our forefathers, none of our mothers and fathers were perfect. But we must draw from their wisdom and build upon that. If a family structure, let's say, is not harmonious and it cannot be, some situations need time. And some situations need an external person or some kind of mediation, community involved. We have to start. One of the things I really is important to me when I deal with things, or most of the time, if I've got conflict that I cannot resolve, I will always seek to get an elder in. Yeah, I always do that. Yeah, because a lot of communications can happen. A lot of relationships can be healed by communication, and we have to learn the art of communication, male and female. Yeah, I think those things are important. I think do the work first before you start trying to expand and go elsewhere. Most people come back to source anyway. When you have a child, what do? You tend to, even if you've been distanced from a family, what do? You tend to come back to source and draw from the wisdom of what you know. So the seeds that we plant are really important, and recognizing the good elements of what we came from and draw on that and build on that in answer to that question.
I'd just like to add to the brother, when look, the question is assuming that other people have happy families. I believe that everybody who has a family that demonstrates joy works on it, and they work on it. Maybe you don't see the work, but they work on it. They could be going to bed and they're praying. They could be waking up and they're praying. They're silently sending up messages to the Creator to say, help, intervene. These things you may not see. So why I said work on yourself is because when we work with the Creator, we cannot say that things are not doable, because the Creator created it all. That other person in your midst who is causing the anxiety, the perception of anxiety, is also attached to the Creator. Give that challenge up to the Creator and allow time, because we're all here on purpose. There are people in this world that are evil. There really are. And I pray that they're not in your family. But you will know through your heart if that person is disconnected themselves from the Creator. And if they have, because it's free will, then you are free to leave that situation. But you've got to be sure that every single thing that you could do to help that person who has come into your family has been done. Don't be a doormat. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about proper heart maturity that can read and see another human's heart. If you've got that level of development, you will know if that person has cut themselves off from the light and there's nothing anybody can do because they've chosen to be on that negative side. That situation warrants something else, and your heart will tell you what you should do. But if that person is still on the side of the light, then you can send up prayers and give time. But as you are growing your heart, things that you would notice, you would stop noticing, because you will rise above it and it will not be so important to you anymore. So that's what I would say. I can't vouch for that person or that family, but what I can do is the mechanisms. I can share that.
Yeah, thanks, sister. Right, there's a number of questions in the chat. I'm going to try and get through all the ones that are currently there now, yeah? So if your question is not currently in the chat now, we may not get to it, all right? Because we do have to draw to a close at some point soon, okay? However, the next question is coming from Siggy. What basic herbs should we be using with our foods, especially meat eaters?
Okay, well, that's a question for one of the chefs. You've got to come onto one of our episodes to get that, because if I gave you advice like that, that would just be unwise. We would have to be working with you on your menu and working with your body type and see what your issues are. But basic herbs, any herb that you want to use with meat is obviously going to give you some of the natural pharmacy that a herb does. But I wouldn't give you advice like that. That would be irresponsible of me. Come to one of, send me an email, come to one of our sessions. We have many public sessions, and then we could look at your specific diet and see what you specifically need. That would be my answer to you. It's very dangerous to just sort of say, do that, because you could be allergic to something, and then I'm giving you something that you could be allergic to. So we'd have to get more information for your specific need. I hope that helps.
Amaris asks, what physical cycle we may not be aware of do men go through throughout a life cycle?
Yes, the great question. Yes, men do. One of the shocking things for mothers, especially mothers, in my experience, and I'm a mother and a grandmother, is that boys will have to cross what they call the bridge. Boys change, and they love their mothers when they're little, and then when they get to early teenage years, they start to become men, and the voice changes, the height changes, and then all of a sudden they have the sex divide. Single mothers struggle unless they've been warned and told about this. They struggle. So that's one of the things that happens to men. Be aware of the teenage years when the when the boys are becoming men, and how that brain is being affected. When the joining of the two sides of the brain happen, be aware of that. And my personal advice, and throw it away if you don't want it, is the first 7 years is the family teaching you. The second 7 years is the community teaching you. The third 7 is you interpreting what you've learned and then going out and trying to walk the path of a young adult. And then the fourth 7 years is when you should get involved in relationships, when you've understood yourself and you've done some work on yourself. Because before that, you may be in an adult world with adult challenges and you're not fully able to deal with it. Some people will say, yes, I'm ready and I can do it. They're the rare, unusual people. The maturity of men take longer because they don't give birth. Nature has provided a woman to be faster maturing. It's just a biology because of the birthing experience that she has. But a man needs more time. So the cycles, you need to pay attention to your development, your protector, container, provider. That needs to be nurtured properly for you to stand up properly in this difficult world that we live in. And if you rush in, you're going to end up missing some of those cycles. So those are just basic things, but that would be my advice. Stay on your development path until you get to a mature age in your 20s before you rush in to take on other challenges, because your brain and your body needs time. I hope that helps.
Your thanks, sister. Next question. How would one deal with the pressures of Western traditions when trying to deal with our natural ways and traditions? For instance, not wanting to get our babies vaccinated. So once again, how would one deal with the pressures of Western traditions when trying to deal with our natural ways and traditions? For instance, not wanting to get our babies vaccinated.
Okay, well, I'll do a jab at that, and then sister, please come in. Well, I'll tell you now, I ain't taking it. And so you have to decide. I said wait until you're mature, and maturity means you have to make decisions. Yeah. There are choices in this world, and there are consequences from your choices. I ain't taking it. That's my choice. The Western world pressure is I will influence everybody with my knowledge to tell them what I know about what's coming. I understand the 100-year journey of how we got here with Maxine. This is not a 4 years, 6 months. This is a more 400, 500 years journey. Maxine wants to do what a mother does. A mother is a messenger, and they're not lying to you when they say they've got a nano messenger that they want to communicate with your mother messenger. These are not joking times. These are times to stand up. We come here for a reason. You come here for a time. You're not dead. The Western world did not kill you yet. They've killed many of our friends, many of our family, but you are not dead. So get the knowledge that you don't have if you don't have it, and stand up and understand that these people want souls. 26,000 years is the next time you're going to get a chance to rise up. If you miss this one by Maxine, cutting you short. It's a serious matter. They are not going anywhere because they're cut off. The light gone, long time, and they want company. And I don't know how people are going to manage the ones that have already got Maxine, but the ones who haven't, mind yourself, because this is an ascension time. The seed was planted and the seed is growing, and they know it.
I mean, there's so many different dynamics according to this. What I will say, though, I mean, none of my children are vaccinated, and my eldest is 21. Yeah, and so I've never been engaged in that conversation. I recognize that this is a difficult situation, a different conversation with people, especially when you have babies. Babies can wait. Yeah, I believe that babies can wait. Their bodies, their immune systems are already developed. Yeah, in terms of their developing their immunity through the breast milk. Yeah, that's one of the major immunities that you can get. And a woman should, technically, a woman should be breastfeed for at least 2 years. Yeah, that assists her also not to get, I suppose, things like breast cancer and other things, right? So I think there's the importance of that. I think we also have to look at, we already know that there's a lot of conversation for this. Yeah. What I did find out today, which I thought was really interesting, in fact, last night, I found out that a well-known provider of Maxine, let's call her, and do your research, but they are getting, are securing assets. Yeah, this you should know. Make your own choices. I'm not going to make any choices for anybody, but they are securing assets around the world in Brazil and other countries. Yeah, securing assets around the world in case there is a backlash, because if there are lawsuits, they do not want to pay out. So they are securing military bases in different countries. Do your research on that. So they already know what's to come. Yeah. We might not see anything now. You'll see the certain cases. You won't see anything yet. If you think you're going to see it all now, you're not. Yeah. Whatever it is, it's going to take time. Yeah. So I would just say, do your research. Yeah. Make your choices. Be wise about it, and study common law.
Yeah. Agree.
Powerful.
Common law.
Yeah, we've got another question here, and it says, wow, amazing info, Sister Theresa. Do you provide courses in all of this?
Yeah, we're taking people's information, and we're allowing them to find out about all the things, the steps that we're doing by keeping that line of communication going. So send me an email, and then we will keep that line going and let you know what we're doing. Definitely, that's a part of the plan.
Yeah, thanks. We'll get you to drop your email again before the end of the show. I do want to send though to say, just in case there's anybody near Maxine listening, but now I talk about you, all right? Yeah. All right. You know what I mean? No problem.
Talk about Maxine with a C.
I do want to add a point, and I don't think people have heard much about this before. Somebody asked a question about cycles, and Shaka, this is a pen moment. Yeah, you're gonna love this. I don't know if you've ever heard Dr. Layla Africa talk about the men's cycle. Yes. Yeah, you know how the woman has a menstrual. Yeah. Well, men have a cycle in their own 28 days, according to Dr. Layla Africa. I was at his lecture many years ago, and he said that he talks about the men having a cycle, their own cycle. They don't bleed, but their cycle shows up as forgetfulness or losing things. And I tested that theory with my son, my eldest son, when he got into his teens. Yeah, and we would chart it. And literally, each month, it would go for like a 3 or 4 days of he was losing something, or he's getting really scatty and what have you. So if we start to get to know each other, goes back to that other question about harmoniousness. Like, we need to get to know each other from all over again. Yeah. The problem is we're coming together from a Eurocentric construct, which doesn't work, which does not favor us, which doesn't favor us culturally. And that's where the mistakes are being made. We're trying to assimilate something that's not how we communicate. We've got to understand that we don't deal with object and status, really. It's been assimilated into us to think that way, but we are about the relationship. We're about things at the soul level, and we've got to kind of keep coming back to that. And what, Theresa, you're talking about is just planting new seeds into ourselves. Yeah, and I love the way you've shared it, but it's really about, when you talked about collateral damage and collateral beauty as opposed to collateral damage, yeah, which is what we always think about, yeah, when we say collateral or money, yeah, something external, but we never talk about collateral beauty. So yeah, just those wonderful things. I mean, it's so rich. So I appreciate the conversation. I love listening to the elders. That's my thing.
Peter Sinclair says, we men suffer from PMT, PM money troubles.
Okay, can I answer that one? Because I am a business coach. Listen.
Email sister directly.
Yeah, one of the problems we have is that we don't know our talents.
Right.
Now, if we suffer from money trouble, that is something that we need to take some time out to work on what it is that we've come here to do. Because if you do the thing you've come here to do, the money will come. But if you get scared and you think you have to go to the bank and you have to do the job that they've told you to do, you most probably will never get the money you need. So if you're not in alignment with your purpose, you will have struggles making money. So take some time out and think about what it was that you love to do, and that's the thing you're going to give, and you will get rewarded for it.
Give the thanks for that, sis. Family, this has been Quarantine Convos. We're going to kind of go into a wrap-up of the conversation. Firstly, Sister Maud, I don't know if you got just a general reflection or a final question that you want to ask.
I know that you'd spoken about when we'd spoken previously. You talked about a global cooking event. And I'd love the community to know about that before we complete.
And we're having the wellness show.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Lovely.
Well, what we want to do, we want to join hands with the Caribbean, and we want to join hands with Africa and people around the diaspora, and we want to do a cooking day where we're cooking all together. People are watching and following Take 3 Chefs Cooking Global. And the reason we want to do that is because a lot of people have lost their income. The Caribbean was told to become a tourist paradise and no tourists are coming. So we want to raise up the awareness. As I said, I want Caribbean food to be the number one on people's lips when it comes to healthy cooking, freshly cooked, that heals. We should be in that status because that's the kind of food that we produce. So raising up all of the Caribbean and all of the African people who want to join us and come and cook with Take 3 Chefs. So you'll be in your house, you'll be watching us on the live box, and you will be able to follow us step by step, 3 chefs cooking globally. There'll be different time zones, but the UK time zone, we're hoping it will be in the late afternoon so that the Caribbean people will be at least up and the American people will be up. So that's one thing that we're doing. That's going to be happening. It would be end of April that will happen. And we'll shout out to social media about that. And we're also going to be on a beautiful channel. And I really shout out for people to help this channel. And Ben TV, we're going to have a health and well-being show there. And that's starting in end of April as well. So we'll be all over the place. You'll have lots of opportunity to get involved with us. We're going to do movement. We're going to do cooking. We're going to do the conversations. And we really just want to have a home where people can find us and know that, we're going to be there consistently. We'll be there once a month. So that's a place to find us. But do join us on the Cooking Global, Caribbean and Africa. And that's going to be a very, very important event to raise up the profile and bring people's eyes back to the Caribbean. And we're going to have farming in there. We're going to have growers of food. We're going to have providers of food. We're going to have a whole network, as we do as Black people. We are networkers, and that's our natural position once we get away from the lack of trust. And that's what that is about.
Give thanks, family. Right. I've just had a beautiful conversation today. This has been an excellent conversation. And so I just think that what's to do finally is just give thanks to Sister Theresa for the dimensions, that you've been able to.
Thank you. Thank you both. It's been a joy. You are so warm and so engaging, and your audience is just so kind and considerate. I just love it. I've had a really beautiful time. Thank you. Collateral beauty spreads everywhere, and this is a collateral beauty moment.
Let's give your contact details for our viewers again.
Okay, take3chefs.com. take3chefs@gmail.com for email, info@take3chefs.com for email, and for donation you'll find the link at take3chefs.com. And please go to our donation page. If you have some change, please donate. And look out for our episodes and all of the things that we're planning to do, the global and the wellness show, and many, many more things. We just want to rise up our people and bring that value that we did. You know, when you don't value something, you lose it. And we're trying to stop that from happening.
Yes. Give thanks. Thank you once again, sis. We're going to close out this. Feel free to depart while we're doing so. It's going to take a few minutes, but once again, thank you very, very much for this beautiful conversation. And
thank you.
To share it far and wide, and somebody can get something from it. You know what I'm saying? So give thanks. Yeah,
it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for this season of Quarantine Convos is health and wellness. Today we've been speaking to Sister Theresa. Last week we spoke to Brother Davis J. Williams of the Manhood Academy, alongside many other institutions. The week before that we spoke to Sister Tiani Cherie, and guess what, Sister Mo? I've got my physical copy, yeah, of the book right here. You know what I'm saying? I managed to get it, so it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, speaking about the book, Fostering Forced Identity, the Child Welfare System Design of Social Control of the Black Family by Sister Tiani Cherie Pepler. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? Check it out, Kings and Queens. Excellent title. And yeah, man, we look forward to speaking to her about this a little bit more. That's I'm saying. And prior to that, it was all about Sister Mott, yeah, letting you know about who she is and introducing her to you as the co-host of Quarantine Convos. And we give thanks for everything that she has brought to the show thus far, and all things that she will continue to bring in the future. Yes, Sister Mott, any final words?
Thank you. I mean, it was such a beautiful conversation. It's such a lovely comeback. In terms of like me coming back into the space, it's just a beautiful one. I love sitting with my elders. I've always been that type of person. So, you know, I'll humbly sit at their feet. I'm good with that. So, you know, it was a beautiful conversation, so rich, so simple, and yet so powerful at the same time. And that's what we are. We are balanced in that way as beings. Yeah. Let's not complicate who we are. Yeah, let's just keep it simple and hone it in on our strengths and our power and our ancestral knowledge, and that's what we got tonight. So yeah, give thanks, and thank you everyone for who tuned in, and we'll for sure see you next week.
Well, yes indeed, Kings and Queens. Next week we're going to be reviewing the film Judas and the Black Messiah. Yeah, Judas and the Black Messiah. Spoiler alert, it's going to be spoiler full. Yeah, but we're going to be speaking to our brother from across the waters, Dr. Jared Ball. Yes, indeed, Kings and Queens. Of I Mix What I Like, of Black Power Media. He's a university lecturer. I forget the university that he lectures at, but he lectures in media and communications, and within the field of Black studies, I believe. But our brother is prolific. He's erudite. And dedicated, yeah, to the liberation of Black people, and so we look forward to speaking to him about that film. You know, it should be a very interesting conversation because he's also very knowledgeable about that era of the Black Power movement. So we urge you to check out gotkushTV.com. If you're not signed to our mailing list, do so right about now. Yes, indeed, Kings and Queens. And next week, Tuesday, we are going to be releasing the next episode of Decipher, Kings and Queens, where our panel will be addressing the subject of should more African countries join the year of return? Once again, should more African countries join the year of return? And the special guests for that episode are Nat Nye and Stella B of Voyage to Motherland fame, Kings and Queens. So do check that out. You don't want to miss it. 7 p.m. next week, Tuesday, the 16th of March. Yeah, and you mentioned Dr. Layla Africa, Sister Mott. It is actually coming up to the year anniversary of his passing, the 20th. I believe it was the 20th. 20th or the 21st of March last year is when he passed away. You know what I'm saying? So let's give thanks for the spirit of Dr. Layla Africa, because he's given us a lot of inspiration and
loads.
And as a man who I had the pleasure of meeting and being in terms with, I treasure the relationship that I did have with him, that I began to develop with him. You know, he showed man a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? And you know, from a man that is a very hard speaking man, when he shows you love, it's a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? So we give thanks.
He is a great person. I'll give you an antidote. He said I went to a consultation years ago. My firstborn was 3 years old, and he was playing in the corner. And he looked, you know how he looks? He used to look from his glasses. He used to look down. He went, he's not good at being an only child. I was compelled to have another. I was like, okay.
Yeah, you know, we say let's go and find the man quick, you know what I mean?
No, I was in one. I was in it. But I was like, he was an only child, and it was just like he was not good at being an only child. And this man can point it out immediately in a 5 seconds. He noticed it. Yes. You know, stopped our consultation and went, he's not good at being an only child.
Big up that tonight. And shout out to his queen who's still with us, Sister Melanie Stevenson. You know what I'm saying? Big her up as well. You know, keeping the legacy alive. We give thanks. You know. All right, family. This has been Quarantine Convos. So tune in next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. for the next edition. And once again, Decipher coming to you next week, Tuesday the 16th at 7 p.m. Also, this has been beautiful, and we give thanks. And always remember, you ain't got nothing if you
ain't got kush.
Blacktricity, gotkushTV's exclusive free Kwanzaa showcase is now available for you to watch absolutely free. In conjunction with Ghana, the On the Return series, we have brought the African diaspora experience directly to you. To watch this monumental event absolutely free, simply register for membership at gotkushTV.com and you will receive access to Blacktricity as well as more exclusive content, including Reggie Rockstone, Yusufu Jallo, VVN, Malachi Selassie, Daddy Makes Dough, Tods, King Wiz, Tubada, Ras Ashiba, Mama Sia, Brother Leader Bandaka, Israel, Sister Moots, Carla Marie, Yemaya Sankofa, Goldflow, and a special Voyage to Motherland panel discussion. All this and more, hosted by Nat Nai and Stella B. Register now at gotkushTV.com.
Should more African nations join the Year of Water?
I would say every descendant of Africa should go home.
But the same things are happening. The tax money is still coming back to Europe.
How do we contribute to the decolonisation of Africa?
So if Africa is our focus, are we then neglecting the Caribbean?
The year returned so successful, 1.9 billion. 1.9 billion. All of a sudden, the whole world shut down.
Making sure that people on the continent see the real picture of how we live here.
Welcome from Ghana, Accra.
Enter the cipher.